Well, the implications of running a small businesses are huge. A lot of them fail, a lot of the time because they get absolutely terrible advice. But it has impact on much greater than just that individual. Marriages break up because of failed businesses. You've got the economy would be in a much better shape the more small businesses that we can help become successful.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a great one. Our guest is the owner of DMB Tax Services and the CEO of Profit by Intention. Dan Baker, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Michael. Pleasure to be here.
It's great to have you, and excited to hear your story and share what you've been up to with our listeners. And so, Dan, before we get into all of it, tell us about you and your career journey leading up to this point.
Oh boy, well, it's been one heck of a ride. I am a certified financial planner by designation, so I have my CFP designation, and I'm also a chartered life underwriter. And I had done that since 2002. I came out of university, started working with a major insurance company. I left, went to work for a major bank. Around 2008, I decided, if I'm doing financial planning for people, I should probably know something about taxes. So I did what a lot of people do. I signed up for H&R Block's tax course, and I worked for them two times. And I was like, this is really great. I quite enjoyed doing it. But I saw what they were charging, and I thought, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so I just opened up a personal tax business. But I used some referral structures, and I charged a relatively inexpensive fee to do taxes at the time. But what it did was it allowed me to really grow a client base quickly. We were getting... through our referral program, we were getting 3-4 referrals from pretty well everybody. And we grew from 30 tax clients to now we serve approximately 650 to 700 individual tax clients. But what that did was it really gave us a base of people who now needed mortgages, financial planning, and insurance advice at a really low acquisition cost for us. And then in 2010, I was looking for ways to make a little bit extra money because we were getting married and we bought a house. And so I put out an ad to see if anyone wanted to subcontract some bookkeeping services. Now, I had never done bookkeeping before in my life, but I did have an accounting background from university, and a firm out in Oakville answered the ad. And for the last 10 years, we subcontracted a lot of work from them while learning how to do corporate tax and profit advisory. We do income tax, bookkeeping. And so over the last 3 years, in 2018, business was starting to pick up slowly, but I'd always wanted to create sort of a consulting arm to the business. And one day I was running on the treadmill at the gym, and I was reading the Profit First book by Mike Michalowicz, and I almost fell off the treadmill. I was like, this is exactly what I've been trying to create, but don't have time to create. So as soon as I got home, I jumped on a phone call. Within 5 weeks, I was licensed with them, certified, spent the next 6 months implementing it in my own business, because that's what you had to do in order to get certified to be able to run the program. And ever since that moment, we started to rebrand the business to the point where now we consider it more a small business advisory firm, where we take all of our clients through the process of the bookkeeping, the corporate tax, the profit advisory, the wealth management, and the insurance for small business owners. So I guess in a nutshell, we started out as a financial planning company. Then we became an individual tax firm. And then through the various iterations of the company, now we've got what has really started to explode on us, which is an advisory firm for small business owners.
Incredible. That's amazing. And what have you noticed with your clients along that journey?
Well, so most of the clients that we serve love the fact that they can get a number of different services all in one place. So, for example, when we do a financial plan for a client, we know their tax situation, right? So when we put it together, the tax implications of what they decide to do are already there. If they need a mortgage, we have a mortgage person that we have under our umbrella. For the small business owner, it becomes a very powerful tool for them, because not only are we helping them sort of rework the structure of their business and trying to build them up to get maximum profitability, but we're also helping them as an individual owner to maximize their personal wealth and their personal tax side. And it all comes together in a nice, succinct plan that they can then execute. So ever since we went to the integrated concept, our business has expanded tremendously. I'll give you an example. Like a year and a half ago, we had 3 monthly recurring corporate clients. Now we're up to 30.
Wow. That's incredible.
In about a little over a year.
Wow. It's interesting in that what I hear, a whole bunch of things I've heard in your story is, number one, you very passionate about what you do, very, very passionate about helping your clients, which we love around here. And also you're very passionate about finding solutions to help those clients in multiple innovative ways. And you don't try and figure it all out yourself. You mentioned profit first. You read about it and you're like, wow, this is what we need to get back to our clients. So you went in, and it's almost like in the Matrix where they take a little program and it's like, oh, I can fly a helicopter now, right? It sounds like you've just gone and, hey, let's download all of that. Let's download all of this. Let's bring this back to our clients. And now they come to you and they've got basically the whole buffet that they need in order to run their business. It must be really great being a client of Dan Baker.
Well, I like to think that's what they're,
yeah,
what they're thinking.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely, but I love it.
I mean, well, you're right. So, and I have conversations with other business owners that are in the same space as I am. And I mean, what I find in this industry a lot is you get a lot of the people who want to serve the fewest number of clients for maximum dollars and free up as much time as they can. And so when I first started in this industry, people were always telling me, no, you have to charge more. You have to charge more. You only want the clients that can afford to pay this. And from my value system, I've always come at it from a different standpoint. So I come from a completely blue collar background. Me and my brother were the first ones to kind of branch out and go into the finance route. What I want to do is, and what we're very, very passionate about, is helping business owners succeed. I mean, the days are long gone. Everybody in my family, they went to work in factories. They worked there for 30 plus years. They got their pension. They're living off of those now. Those days, unless you're working for Ontario Hydro or you're in a government job or you're a teacher, for a lot of people, those days are gone. So more and more people are trying to break out and start their own small businesses. Well, the implications of running a small businesses are huge. A lot of them fail. A lot of the time because they get absolutely terrible advice. But it has impact on much greater than just that individual. Marriages break up because of failed businesses. You've got the economy would be in a much better shape the more small businesses that we can help become successful. So what I've tried to do is surround myself with all of these various tools that we can put in place and work with these business owners for. And I'm trying to build our team so that way we can serve as many clients as we possibly can through whatever means we can generate content for them. So sure, not everybody can afford to work one-on-one with us, but we do have a program for startup businesses where they can come in, we can get them started on the right foot so that way they have all the things that they need to make educated decisions, and then they can grow to the point where then they can join us as a monthly recurring client. And we try to offer a number of different ways that they can work with us, just because of the simple fact that we want to help as many clients across the country as we possibly can.
I love it. It breaks my heart when I see businesses fail. And there's a good example of one. It was a butcher that had opened up in a mall close by to us. And I saw the new business. I'm like, cool. You don't see butcher shops that often anymore because they're in the grocery store. But a bespoke butcher where they know, they're experts at doing meat and cuts and all that good stuff. I think it's great for a community. So I started shopping there and doing my thing. And then one day I came back and it was shut. It was done. Well, the cost that was a person there, a man that had a family, a man and wife they had a family. They invested probably hundreds of thousands in starting that business, and it's just completely wiped out. And it doesn't need to go that way. There are customers that want what they have, yet if they don't have the financial intelligence, the education, the knowledge that you have and many of our listeners have, they will fail. And it doesn't need to go that way. They can win. Everyone can win. If you have a solid business, you can win, but you need to have the right information. And it sounds like you're working at helping get those people, because those people don't even know about you. They need to get introduced to you. They think they can't afford to have access to Dan Baker, but yet if you can create a pathway for them and make sure that they succeed long enough, you can create a pathway that leads them into those higher paying services that you can offer and different things, but you can't if they've closed down. It's done. They're out of the game.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And in a case like that butcher shop, when we started integrating the Profit First system into everything that we do. So when I first signed up with them, we sort of had our bookkeeping service, and then we had, we're now Profit First licensed, so we have it as sort of a standalone add-on. But what I found was it's from a personal values standpoint, it was very difficult when a client would say, well, yeah, we'll take the bookkeeping service, but now, you know what? I don't want to spend the extra money right now at this time to get to take the Profit First add-on into that service. And what I found was my heart wasn't into just doing the bookkeeping for them, because I still wanted to provide that value of what the Profit First program offers. So what we ended up doing, we made a decision about a year ago to integrate that into everything that we do. So what we've done is we've put it in. So every client that inquires with us, we send them three proposals. The base proposal basically gets them their compliance work done, gets them set up properly, and gets them an introduction to Profit First at a very simple level for them. Then our middle grouping is sort of where we work in partnership with them, and they get really ingrained into the Profit First system. And then we have our platinum package, where they're working one-on-one with us over a 12 to 18 month rollout period, where we really integrate Profit First into their business, and we work very hands-on with the particular business owner. So that little change there, now we deal with every client sort of the same way on some sort of strategy level, so we can make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. Because when you're on that system, we analyze your expenses. We analyze your gross margin. We look at your revenue streams and how you can improve your margins from that aspect. And it really gets them to make an efficient business, and it gets them to start paying themselves like what they should be worth as a business owner. I mean, Michael, it's amazing. I had one client that I worked with, and they ran a $600,000 revenue company. And the T4 for that employer, the business owner, was for $19,000.
Wow.
And I said to myself, when we first sat down and I was talking to them, I said, and I don't mean to be rude, is what I said to the business owner. I said, but you could go work at Walmart and be a greeter and not have the stress that running this business is costing you. And you would take home a T4 for more than $19,000. Right? And a lot of business owners, I find, they fall in love with the fact of owning a business. So they like the fact that on a Tuesday, they can go to Costco at noon hour and not have to face crowd, right? And one of the things with working with us is we'll go out of our way to help you. But sometimes that help means being brutally honest and the fact that you may not have a viable business, right? And so we just try to open ourselves up to work with all sorts of different business owners, no matter what stage they're in. And we can relate, because I've been through all of that. We've made a lot of money. We've lost a lot of money. We've built it back up again now properly, to the point where, knock on wood, we now have a sustainable business that is growing in leaps and bounds in a way that we can now show other business owners the exact same methods that we used.
It's remarkable. I absolutely just getting goosebumps, because it really is one of my missions to get more of those business owners that were only paying themselves $19,000 a year to get connected with people like you, Dan, and the rest of the people listening to this show, That's my mission, because it's just so much opportunity. And that's the work you've signed up to do. That's your passion, Dan. And the listener right now, that's your passion. What you love to do is help those people make more money. And you're absolutely right, Dan. Maybe the advice needs to be, look, this is not the right business, but maybe there's some tweaks that need to happen to make it the right business, or maybe there's a completely different direction to go. That person didn't know any of those options until you met them and then had the courage and the passion and the desire to actually give them that feedback and give them that information so that they can go on a new trajectory. You know, when people get introduced to Profit First, we love Profit First. I love Profit First. I've implemented Profit First into our business, and it literally the moment that I understood it and I was like, okay, we're going to do this, it's made a massive difference to our business. And so it's one of the reasons why I want to get it out to so many people, make sure that they know about it, they're reading the book, that they get involved in any way that they can. It's because I know that it has access to helping do some of the things you're talking about. I'd love to hear some stories about how Profit First, you know, you mentioned you read the book and you said, I don't want to build all of that. What is it that you're using that's helping, you know, lever these businesses and make a difference for them?
Well, so from a Profit First standpoint, it's funny because it is such a simple program, right? I mean, when we first sit down with a business owner, the first step that we do is we do a profit assessment plan with them, which basically takes their last couple of years of income statements and balance sheets, and we do an analysis on where their money has been spent. And then we walk them through the process. So depending on what level they've kind of come on board with us, we'll either give them a full 12-month rollout, in which case we're setting targets for every quarter on how we want to lower their expenses. I mean, it's all based on a system of using smaller plates, right? And the beauty of the system is it works with your natural tendencies. So for example, I'll use myself. When I signed up with the program, they have a very stringent process that you need to go through in order to become certified. So you have to actually run it in your business and then show them sort of the results and what's sort of taken place along the way. So in my business, when I first did the profit assessment, I was running with about 80% of my revenues going to my operating expenses. And so one of the first things that we had to do, and we take every client through this exact same journey, is we made a list of all our fixed expenses, things that we can't change. And I started going through there and I was looking at it, and that list wasn't that bad. Then we made a second list with all of our other expenses. And I'm telling you, there were things on that list that I didn't even know that I'd been paying for. I'll give you an example. I had a $9.99 US fax charge every month that I'd had since 2008. So that's $10 US a month. So 120 for the year times 10 years. I went into my account that I totally forgot I had. And over that 10-year period, I sent 7 faxes.
Wow.
And it was all because back then somebody asked me if I had a fax number that they could send their tax information to. So going through the process, let me find all these various things that I did not need. And we get every business owner to ask, is this an expense or is it an investment in your business? If it's an investment in your business, that means this is going to help you drive your business forward. If it's just an expense or a nice to have, which I was the king of, I mean, I had all kinds of stuff that I mean, as soon as the business started making money, I was getting, oh, this is the top software. Great. We're going to buy this for this. And then we're going to buy this software over here. We're going to get this subscription-based thing over here. And at the end of the day, I had all this money going out to things that I wasn't even using effectively. So to make a long story short, we were able to reduce our monthly expenses by $1,600 every single month.
Wow. Remarkable.
Yeah. So that took us from an 80% operating expense down to 60. And where does that money go? Well, the money that was saved there, we were able to build up our profit account. So every time payment comes in now, immediately 10% goes to our profit account. And that is there to reward the business owner for taking on the risks of running the business. I also have an owner's compensation account, which pays me for the work that I do in the business. Okay. And then the last account that we have is for taxes. Now I've expanded on this, and for each individual client, like for me, I have 11 bank accounts. So every time, and I always joke about it because Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the Profit First book, he always says, when in doubt, open an account. And that's really what I do. So I found that I spend an awful lot of money every year on going to conferences and personal development. So we opened up an account, and now instead of having to go to a line of credit when I want to spend $5,000 on a personal development course, I have an account that has that money already in it. Right? And so what we found from working with clients on this system is you're no longer playing from behind. You're no longer borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. You're taking a very strategic approach to making sure that your taxes are paid, your owner's pay is where you need it to be. You're making a profit for taking on the risk of starting the business. And then what we do is we fit your expenses to match what's left.
It's remarkable.
Right? And so from a behavioral standpoint, when you go onto your online banking and you see your OPEX account, which is your operating expense account, the money that's in there is what you have available to spend on business things. Everything else has already been removed during your 2 allocation periods every month, and it's out of sight, out of mind. So you're only dealing with what's in that operating expense account. And for many, many business owners, as simple as it seems, we found it's very difficult for them to implement themselves. They need that constant encouragement, that constant follow-up, because they get busy doing their regular day-to-day business items. So it's been a very, very powerful experience for the companies that we have on the program and the ones that are currently going through it.
And I would say it's one of those things where you said, well, listen, this system is very simple. And it's simple to you, but it's not simple to the business owner that doesn't have this knowledge that you have. And so that's one side of it. But then you've already mentioned that other side of it, which is the human being is avoiding it for reasons, right? It deals with money. It deals with, there's lots of shame packed in. If, this person that's doing a $600,000 business cutting himself a check for $19,000 doesn't feel very good. I mean, he's proud of what he's built, but he sure doesn't feel like he's being rewarded for it. Yeah, he gets to go to Costco at, $1.30 to buy blueberries on sale, right? I mean, that's
right.
Good, but it ain't great. Right. So now when you do that and you sit with it, that's the beauty of it, is that it's simple, but it also, they need help with it. And once they get it, once you implement it for them and help them with it, it's then simple to maintain. So I think that's really where the opportunity is, and you've demonstrated that and explained it, is that there's a pathway, there's a process, there's a way you can really help them and get it done for them so that it turns the ship around. And even in your own business, I mean, you're doing this work, but yet here you have something that's completely new, that's enabling you to likely sleep a heck of a lot better, get way more rewards out of your business, so you can focus on doing the right thing every day instead of trying to figure out what the right thing is to do.
Well, yeah, and I can tell you, obviously right now as we're recording this, we're going through the whole COVID situation, and our clients that have been on our Profit First system for the past year, they are not worried about anything right now because their bank accounts, sure, the money isn't there, quote unquote, for this particular reason, but their accounts are flush with cash. So they do have money to tap into to be able to keep the doors open. So even in an event like a pandemic, the Profit First process can have some really, really great advantages. And that's another reason why we rolled it into our overall structure of everything that we do, because we would have clients that would do the process and then say, well, how do we continue working with the whole Profit First structure? And I was like, well, we've already done sort of either the 6-month plan or the 12-month plan. And they were like, well, where do we go from here? So I thought, you know what, instead of doing this all separately, we're just going to put it all together. So the way we bill our clients is we find out everything that they need. So everything they need from us, from the bookkeeping to their corporate tax, whatever profit program they want, we add it all up. We divide it by 12. They get a one-time monthly fee that's set in stone, that doesn't change. So that way they can cash flow plan, we can cash flow plan, and we don't really change it unless there are like large changes in their business structure. And it's really just built into the price. So that way they're always going to be getting some sort of Profit First guidance from us just by continuing to be a client of the Profit by Intention brand. And that's why we named it like that. We are trying to create intentional profit for business owners. It's no longer going to be the piece of the balance sheet that comes last once you figured out what your sales were and what your expenses were going out the door. Because if you do it that way, you usually will find out at the end of the day that you don't have very much profit left for yourself. Right?
I'm inspired. I'm sure our listener right now is inspired. Just get out there and help these small business owners. And Profit First, if you haven't read it, it's a book that you must read. Learn more about it. It can be an incredible tool to use inside of your bookkeeping business and drive not profit for yourself and your business, but as well put profit in the pockets of all of your clients. I mean, there's one way to make money in the world is help other people make money. And so it's often just being smarter around it, doing that hard work in the beginning that then pays off. You mentioned personal development, investing in yourself. It's one of those things, as I've come to know you a little bit, you're a person that invests in yourself, in your business. And one of the reasons we know each other is you've worked with Lisa Campbell. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
So I met Lisa through Profit First, actually. We met at a Profit Con a couple of years ago, I think. And we chatted, and we've kind of become friends. We're relatively close in the same province. And the one thing I've always admired about Lisa is how much she is outstanding when it comes to systems and processes, which for me has been my greatest challenge in trying to build up a business. And so this past year, I think I spoke to her last June or July, and she was telling me about this program that she was coming out with, which was going to help bookkeepers and accountants transition to more of an advisory practice, which would basically teach us the systems and the implementations that she uses to really organize her business as an advisory firm. And so we had talked about it, but at the time, I had actually just spent my entire personal development budget on going to see Tony Robbins' Business Mastery in Las Vegas in August. So I had already had that booked. So I told her, right now is not necessarily the perfect time for me, but I do love the program. And so this January, I reconnected with her because she had opened it up again for a new advance. And we had grown quite a bit since last July. And so we had all these clients coming in, and the processes that I had in place were starting to get very overrun. So I messaged Lisa and I signed up, and I've been in that program now for a month, I think, and it has more than made up for the investment that we made in that. Just on running operations, just by making a couple of software changes that I didn't even know existed before this, I've saved about $5,000.
Incredible.
But it's fantastic because she runs a program where she actually gives you everything that she knows. It's not one of these programs where you run through it, because I've made a lot of mistakes with personal development too, where you buy somebody's course or their program, and what ends up happening is you get done the course and you're like, well, that was really good, but I feel like I still need that person to end up doing this for me, right? And I always feel like those types of courses are trying to they build them so you have to double dip. And that drives me crazy as a business owner, because when I pay good money for a course, I want to get that value. And when I'm done, I want to be able to have something that I can just implement and it's working for me. And I don't need to continuously go back to that person and pay more money on top of it. And Lisa's course, I'll give you one quick example. I switched over for my proposal software, and I went to put a proposal together, and so I messaged her and I was like, I can't figure out how to get 3 proposals on one page, because I'll be honest, I am not the most technological person. She goes, no problem. She emailed me her template that's already completely set up. So I just had to drag and drop my information that I wanted over it. And boom, I put my logo into it. I changed the wording a little bit so it sounded more like me and not her. And off it went. But that's the kind of person that she is. If you need anything, she will just give you exactly what she has done, so that way you can implement it and get it up and running in your business and not have to. She could have just easily said, well, you have to do this, this, and this. And then, oh, by the way, if you want me to implement it for you, you can pay me another $500, right? But no, she just right away, boom, here's what you need. It's in the resource section and we're off and running.
Love it. It's fantastic. Love Lisa Campbell. She's done so much for our community. She's brilliant at what she does. I've known her for a long time, and it's always just great to hear. And I love the passion that you have for going and figuring it out. You may not know everything, but you're willing to look and learn and use the advice of others to augment what you're doing and improve what you're doing.
Well, 100%. I mean, I know one of my biggest strengths that I feel anyway is that I'm very good at knowing what I do well and what I don't do well. So, for example, when I was hiring for my bookkeeper team, I bring them on and I give them full reign. You go in, if it's something in the chart of accounts needs to be changed, don't bother asking me if you can, because that's what one of the ladies did at first. She asked me, is it okay if I do this? I was like, you know what? I hired you because I want people on my team that are better than me. So if you think that this is going to be better, all I care about is that at the end of the month, when I have to go and present the reports to the client, that they're right. That's all that matters to me. So they have the power in our organization to do what they need to do to get their job done. And as long as it comes to me, that's all that matters. And we do that with everything. So when it comes to mortgages, I have a mortgage person on my team that does all my mortgages. Why? Because I had a mortgage license, but what took me 3 days to do, he can do in 45 minutes. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I realized very quickly that with all the various things that I'm interested in and that I like and that I know can help clients, I can't offer all of those at an exceptional level on my own, because there's not enough time in a day to be able to be exceptional at all those different things. And so and a lot of that comes from the fact, like, I'm a huge believer in doing everything to our top level of ability. One of my favorite books is Excellence Wins by Horst Schultz. And that book there changed my whole perspective on how we did things. So I started to align myself with people who are better than me at all these various things. So that way I can try to focus most of my energy on doing the things that I'm really good at, which is sort of the higher level, the business consulting and the visionary part of it for the company. And slowly but surely, with many bumps along the way, that is starting to come to fruition.
It's science. It's fact. When you surround yourself with people, you become like them. And so if you're going to choose, it's in life, we get to choose who is, we don't get to choose our family, we don't get to choose our parents. They are there and that's it. But when we get to choose the people we surround ourselves with, who we associate with, it's make wise choices. You went and surrounded yourself with successful bookkeeping business owners, accounting practice owners, people that were going in the direction you wanted to go. And sure enough, over time, you take on those characteristics. The other cool thing is you give them something as well back. It's not like it's a one-way street. It's two-way. And you get to both leverage each other's strengths and bring what's needed into everybody's business. So all boats rise when the tide rises, right?
Well, absolutely. And that's one of the biggest keys, like in Lisa's Accelerate to Advisor program, the people that are in there, I mean, you have to be at a certain level of success just to be able to, for people that are paying these kinds of dollars to get into these programs, you have to be at a certain level of success. But what I found is if you surround yourself with other successful people, they are the most giving, sharing people, because they're not concerned about you competing with them anymore, right? If you're talking to somebody who's just starting their business, at least this is what I found when I was first starting out, is they're much less likely to share something that they know, because they're always got that mindset, oh my God, what if this person steals my client? What if this person does this? And all of a sudden I don't have a business left. But when you start surrounding yourself with other successful people, like the first time that I asked for help on something, because it's tough. There were bumps along the way. Trying to give up as an entrepreneur, you're always thinking that you have the answers for everything when you're starting out, and giving up that level of control was extremely frightening for me. Mm-hmm. So the first time I asked for something in this group, I had like 5 or 6 people within 10 minutes of my post offering to send me their engagement letter template, so that way I could see what it looked like. And I was mind blown. I'm like, here are these people who are in a competitive industry with me, but they were so willing and able to give on everything that you needed that it really started to click that, wow, if you can get with people who are confident and successful and are running their own business in your industry, they're more than willing to help you. And so then all of a sudden I became more confident, and my ability to release some control, it got an awful lot easier, to the fact that I finally gave my bookkeepers the ability to deal with our clients directly, which was the biggest loss of control that I had. And the worst part, Michael, I realized that I was the problem the whole time.
Tough pill to swallow, but you swallowed it. That's awesome. I just love that. Yeah. I just love that. many listeners, I'm sure it's like letting go and being able to take that kind of news, right? So that's exactly it. So, but you're evolving. So what, I always think of business, whatever took you're the human being that got you this far is going to be a new human being that's going to need to get you to the next level, the next leg of your vision. There'll be new traits, new things that you'll have to change. Otherwise, you'll always have the same things. And so unless we're constantly working on ourselves and working on who we are and who we are for our business and for our families and our lives, we'll just have the same things all the time. So if our vision is bigger, if we have visions for other things, we have to do things like you're doing right now. You're taking on new things, trying new things, opening things up, willing to be wrong about things, and that then has the benefits that you're now starting to see in your business. So very inspirational.
Yeah, and I mean, so we just started niching down into we've been dealing with a lot of micro gyms now, and we've been really looking at, you have to always be changing. If you're not willing to change, then your business is going to get stuck in for some people, they don't want change. They're happy with a business that has 10, 20, 30 clients, and that's fine. That's perfect for them. But if you have a vision, like me personally, I have a purpose that I think is greater than me, that I want this company to grow to. That's why we have clients from BC all the way out to Nova Scotia. We've got everything is set up to be cloud-based, so that way we can deal with people pretty well anywhere. And we really want to start driving that home, that we just want to go out there and help as many businesses as we can. And when there's changes in the industry, when there are new people to be hired, when there's new software that comes out. I mean, my wife, we've changed software so many times that my wife, I thought she was going to divorce me here a couple of months ago when Lisa in our program introduced me to this new workflow program. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. I was so afraid to tell my wife. But it saved us about $2,300, right? So when something better comes out, you have to be willing to change. It's easier for the client. It's easier for us. So you just have to roll with the punches. And if you can't do it, then bring somebody in who can.
I love that. Tell me a little bit about Pure Bookkeeping. You've been a Pure Bookkeeping licensee for a while. You've been implementing the Pure Bookkeeping systems into your business. Talk a little bit about how systems are transforming your business. And a lot of that work you're doing with Lisa, but I'd love to hear how that's been going.
No, I think the Pure Bookkeeping system is absolutely essential. It is still a work in progress with us because I get very excited over things. And so I bought into the Pure Bookkeeping system as a licensee probably 2 years ago. And at the time, that is when business just started taking off. So I was sitting there going, I don't have a team. It's just me. And I was always scrambling around to do everything. And so I didn't have time to implement it. But I read through everything and I was like, wow, this is really fantastic. I really need to do things this way. And then time went on. Now we're at the point, and through Lisa's program, which is one of the reasons I signed up to the Accelerate to Advisor program, is because one of the key components of that program is the implementation of the Pure Bookkeeping system. So I thought to myself, you know what? I've been a licensee member now for 1.5 to 2 years. I need something that's really going to give me that swift kick in the pants to really get this implemented. And so I took the leap and signed up for that program, and it has been amazing. The way that it's laid out makes it so simple. Again, I love it. Same with Profit First. It's simple. Once you implement it and you've taken that time to put it into place, it becomes basically the beauty of it. My team loves it because now everybody goes in and they see the filing system, how it's laid out. Every client is now filed the same way. Whereas before, I would file somebody's month-end report and it would be company name, report name, and then the date. The next time it'd be the date, the month, and then the company name. And it would always be different. What the Pure Bookkeeping system has done is everything now gets filed the same way every time by every client. And so I just had a call this week with a potential new hire. And when she comes on board to join the team, now it's much easier for me because I just say, hey, we follow the Pure Bookkeeping system of best practices. Here's our templates. When you go to do somebody's HST return, there's a 23-item checklist. You just follow along the checklist and nothing gets missed. It gets saved the same way. So if that person then leaves, we bring in the next person and they follow the same checklist. But for that client, everything is still done the same way. And it's great. It's really improved our compliance because now I know where every report is. There were times, Michael, I spent 15 minutes looking for where I saved something before. Now, every client file is set up and saved the exact same way. It's been a remarkable transformation in just the structure of the business. And again, much like Profit First, much like Lisa's system, the pure bookkeeping system is basically a done-for-you product that you just have to take the time to implement, which is what I like. I can't create these things because I don't have time, but I can take something, copy, paste, change the names, copy, paste, change the names, right? And if there's something that I need to look up, I go into the manuals, which has pretty well everything you need to know about anything regarding QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop. I mean, the in-depth work that's involved in those is incredible.
So it's remarkable.
So for us, it's been a time saver and an organizer, and it's really changed the stress levels that I have from an organization standpoint. Let's put it that way.
I love it. It's so refreshing to hear. I love it. I love seeing you win. I love seeing your clients win. And I want to say, if there are listeners out there, you have anybody in the fitness industry, I mean, Dan is niching down into this and you're not wanting to work with fitness industry, you can hear from this episode, Dan would be a great person to have working with those clients. So Dan, we'll have a link to your website where people can get in touch with you for that, because I want to get as many people as possible working with you. And the listener listening right now, I want as many small businesses working with you. We need you out there working with small businesses so that we can make sure that our country stays strong, and we can't get there without strong small businesses. So give yourself a pat on the back, because you are a frontline worker helping small business stay open, stay strong. So I just can't say enough about it. I love it. So I'm glad you're listening right now, because you're part of the solution. Dan, this has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for your generosity, for wanting to share. I know you're going to be back. I just had so many other questions, and there's so many things that you're up to. I know we're going to have you back on the podcast again at some point.
Awesome, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoyed it.
It's been great. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's fantastic guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.